This is Issue 34. I'm here with another one of our student ambassadors, Kayli. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. How has your time at Issue been so far?
It's been really amazing getting to meet so many new people like yourself, the other Issue ambassadors, and even we have this unique opportunity to meet international people as well. But we all have the same goal of advancing the fields.
So you presented your poster yesterday.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your poster.
Okay, so basically with my poster and what I've done for the past year is that I've worked on the HID Nimbus Presto system. So this combines the KingFisher Presto purification system. So this has...
Okay, so hold on. Break that down for me a little bit more.
I know. So we'll just say KingFisher Presto purification system. So that's one part of the instrument, and this has magnetic rods that are able to bind your DNA so that you can do your multiple wash steps. So that's step one of the instrument. And then if you think about it, there's also another component of the HID Nimbus Presto, just the Nimbus, and that is the automated liquid handler. So they're buddies, they're teammates, they're working on the same thing, and then that plus that equals HID Nimbus. So while the KingFisher Presto is purifying your DNA, then the liquid automated handler is able to get your reagents ready. Okay. So within this program, it also has PrepFiler and PrepFiler BTA scripts already on there. So all you have to do as an analyst or as a researcher like myself, you follow the program, you tell it how many samples you're running, and it automatically calculates how much you need to get ready when you set up for automation. So it's very easy, and also with this instrument, when you do the setup, it's very user-friendly, so you can tell the instrument, I'm going to start off in a plate. I'm going to start off in tubes. I will elute in a tube. I will elute in a plate.
Flexibility.
Very flexible. You can choose your elution volume, so that part is very simple, and you just have to say, I'm going to do PrepFiler. I'm going to do PrepFiler BTA, and BTA is more used for bone teeth adhesive samples.
Okay.
So at least we have the instrument. We have that cleared up. So people have been using it for reference samples, but obviously with forensic casework. And the big highlight of this instrument is that you can do 96 samples in 90 minutes, which sounds like, oh my gosh, sign me up, you know? So thankfully, they wanted to see if it would work with more challenging samples. So thankfully at Sam Houston, we have access to STAFs, which is a willed body farm or willed donor program. So we have access to different cadaver types. So we were able to test out burned, buried, and surface decomposed remains in order to test on this instrument, and also hair, nails, and teeth from decomposed cadavers. Additionally, we also tried out, for the fun of it, fired cartridge casings and also touch samples. So we asked participants, hey, can I swab your cell phone, your keyboard, and your water bottle? Just to kind of get a variety, see what's out there, see how it'll handle it. And so overall, between the two, when we really wanted to look at the quant results between that. And obviously, in most forensic laboratories, they're probably doing manual extraction for these challenging sample types. So it's very important to compare it to manual extraction. So we did everything in parallel with PrepFiler or PrepFiler BTA. So our bones and our teeth went through PrepFiler BTA. So after we did all the extractions on the HID Nimbus Presto, all you have to do for your bone, or actually all your samples, is do your lysis outside of the instrument, and then you could put your lysate on the instrument for extraction. So then you finally have your elution volume, you're ready to do quant. And so basically what we did was have a threshold of 1 picogram per microliter to proceed with STR analysis. But when we look at the quantification results, we did see that between automation and manual extraction, that there was no significant difference in DNA yield for our fired cartridge casings, our teeth, surface decomposed remains, or our burned remains.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said 1 picogram per microliter of DNA.
Yes.
That would be considered very little?
Very little,
yes.
Little. Yeah, especially now that we have a little bit more sensitive kits. We were really trying to see, we didn't want to just put samples through with 0, because what's the point? But we also did So we did that, and then what was also very interesting was that the HID Nimbus Presto actually yielded significantly higher DNA yields in comparison to manual with our touch, hair, nails, and our buried samples. So at least it did the same, or maybe just a little bit better. We were like, hooray, this is what we like to see. So for our STR typing, we actually did Verifiler Plus, which is kind of a newer or maybe not so known kit. It's actually used in the Chinese marketplace apparently, and it's supposed to be a more sensitive kit because you're allowed up to 17.5 microliters for your amplification instead of, I think, Global Filer or maybe other kits might have 15. So if you're able to put more of your DNA in for these challenging samples, you're really hoping to maximize these low types of samples. So from our STR results, at least kind of good news, some comparable results to our manual extraction. So for our surface burned samples, those were similar to manual extraction, and hair and nails were actually better than manual extraction, and our buried bones did do better with manual extraction, but you know, those are bone samples, those are very difficult anyways, so that's not out of the ordinary and seen in the literature. And then for our touch samples, thankfully, we had 100% allele recovery from both methods. These were more personally used items, so that's not uncommon. And for our fired cartridge casings, they weren't very successful with either method. But again, fired cartridge casings are very difficult, but we just wanted to see, will it work? But you know, it's comparable, and I think that's the main takeaway, is that in some cases it's comparable or maybe even better for most challenging sample types.
Right. So this automates the extraction step, and you said it does it in 90 minutes.
Yes.
How long does the manual method take compared to that?
Especially for bones. For both methods, you have to still do the 2-hour lysis for bones. But when you're doing manual bones, for me, I'm comfortable with doing 13 samples at a time. And that probably takes like 2.5 hours manually. So doing that, we had about 180 samples. So there was maybe a good 2 or 3 weeks where I was just pipetting my heart's content. So I was just like, I really wish I could do the Nimbus Presto, but we already did that part. We have to compare it. So it would definitely save a lot of time. If you're doing just normal prep filer, I think maybe that'll take hour and a half, hour 45, less than 2 hours. It's just when you're dealing with bone samples, that usually takes a lot more time and a lot more precision because they're usually more challenging sample types.
Oh my gosh, that's so many samples. So, enough about the research. Is this your first time at ISHI?
Yes, yeah, it is.
How has it been so far for you?
It's been so amazing. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be an ISHI ambassador. I'm so glad that they liked my video. Just having the opportunity to go to some of the workshops. I went to the likelihood ratio one, and it was definitely advanced. I'm glad
That seemed like a popular one.
There was a lot of people in there. It's definitely something that, as new analysts, we really need to just take into and consider, and especially with courtroom testimony, I think that's such a prominent thing, especially right now. People are very afraid to talk about likelihood ratios, and so it was just good to have more experience and hear from the professionals about it. And we've learned about it in school, but it was really cool to hear it again from them, and they were talking about relatives and combined likelihood ratios, and that's when I was like, okay, this is advanced. But really awesome stuff. Yeah.
What's the main thing or one thing that you're going to take away from this ISHI meeting?
I think the connections that I've made with people, I think that's what really lasts a lifetime, and especially this field is so small. So it's really nice that we can all kind of depend on each other, and everyone's very nice and inclusive. So they're always willing to help you out, just maybe come up with new ideas. It's just, I think that's what I'll take away, just the new connections.
Thank you for talking to me about your poster.
Thank you so much.
And enjoy the rest of ISHI.
Thank you.